Welcome to One Healthy World. I'm the weight loss champion, Chuck Carroll.
And I'm Dr. Gemma Newman, also known as the Plant Power Doctor.
And Dr. Newman, we are going to be talking about something that's near and dear to my heart today, and that is weight loss, because obesity and being overweight, that is a huge problem here in the U.S., and I'm expecting in other parts of the world too.
Yeah, it really is. And I think this is such a great start for the season because it's something that so many people struggle with. Here in the US, I think it's about 1 in 3 adults are overweight and about 2 in 5 are obese and about 1 in 10 are severely obese.
That's where I was. They actually called it super morbidly obese. My BMI at my heaviest when I was 420 pounds, 69.9.
Oh, you almost made it to 70.
It was my goal. I found just a little bit short, but it's such a problem. And I'm sure that we're going to get into this. It's just, I felt like I had a total loss of control, and I tried so many times to lose weight only to put it back on. But again, this isn't something that's unique here to the United States. Over where you're from in London, the UK, a lot of people are struggling with their weight there too.
Yeah, absolutely. More than 1 in 3 are overweight and 1 in 4 are obese. So it's a big problem around the world.
You know, the funny thing is for so long, I thought that this was all genetics. Like, my entire family struggled with their weight as well. And so I thought that this was just my fate too. But then as I start to learn and I lose all of this weight and I find ways to keep it off, it's not necessarily all genetics, is it?
No, it's not all genetics, but I also want to say, Chuck, you should not be hard on yourself. This is something that was not your fault. It's so complex, the reasons why we gain weight. And interestingly, looking at the science, there are genetic risk factors, but it's not all genetics. You're not predestined to be overweight or obese. There's definitely things you can do, but that doesn't mean it's always easy.
So the whole myth of being big boned maybe just a little sliver of the equation.
Yeah, it's definitely part of it. But there's so many other things. You know, we've got our food environment. We've got the ability to cook fresh, healthy food. We've got things like trauma, or in the scientific literature, we call it adverse childhood experiences. They can play a big impact as well. Shift working patterns, lack of sleep, loads of different things, health conditions as well. It can be really hard for people, and it's not just about willpower.
There's so much that goes into this, and I love it. I love the fact that we're going to get the opportunity to explore that. But I think that the big question is, what should we be eating, Dr. Newman?
Well, this is where it gets exciting. And this is where I love this show, because we're going to get really down into it and help people understand what the best foods are for weight loss and for satiety, keeping themselves full, happy, and healthy.
This is so great. So Dr. Barnard is here. He's got that advice, the most important foods for weight loss, and he begins with a startling revelation, actually. You don't have to go hungry to lose weight.
Many people would like to lose weight. And in recent years, researchers have focused less on how much food people eat and more on the type of foods they choose. And it turns out that certain diets are actually associated with weight loss. For example, people whose diets are based mainly on plant-based foods tend to be thinner than those whose diets are based on animal-based foods, such as meat and dairy products. In 2015, Harvard researchers went a little bit further. They followed the diets of more than 100,000 doctors and nurses. And the more the participants increased their consumption of certain specific foods, the more weight they lost. Now, this is the opposite of what many people would imagine, but it was true. The more they ate these foods, the more weight they lost. So, which foods were they? Well, here are the 6 most important foods. Group number 6, legumes. That's beans, peas, and lentils, and all the things made from them, like tofu or soy milk. The 5th group was citrus fruits, like oranges or grapefruit. Group number 4 was melons, such as cantaloupe or watermelon. And group number 3 was green leafy vegetables, like spinach or chard or lettuce. The 2nd group consisted of cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts. And number 1, drum roll please, berries, like blueberries, strawberries. Now, they're rich in fiber, of course, but blueberries have something else. Their blue color comes from anthocyanins. These are powerful antioxidants, and researchers believe that anthocyanins may actually increase the body's ability to burn calories. 2 years later, 2017, English researchers studied twins. 2,734 women in all. And they found that within each pair, the twin who had the most anthocyanins in her diet had less body weight and specifically less abdominal weight compared to her sister. Now, you know about blueberries, but anthocyanins are in raisins, they're in pears, they're in wine. So plant-based foods are always good for losing weight. And some foods have extra power, and it's worth favoring them.
Certainly a ton of information there. And what amazes me is that this teeny tiny little blueberry was #1 on Dr. Barnard's list. You want to talk about a power food. I think that's the reason why he talks so much about blueberries in the Power Foods Diet book.
Yeah, absolutely. Blueberries are absolutely amazing. They're a massive powerhouse food. You've got loads of nutrients, vitamins, minerals, fiber, anthocyanins, which are amazing because they help your blood flow. It's absolutely fabulous. We've got to eat more blueberries.
I eat a ton. I get the big bag of frozen organic blueberries and I just keep them in my freezer and like I will eat them with every meal. Sometimes frozen blueberries by themselves are a side dish in my house.
Oh, I love to hear it. And also the fact that you have them frozen because you're locking in those nutrients right there and they're usually cheaper as well.
Oh, I can get a huge bag from one of the big box stores, not a box store, but you know, one of the Costco type stores. It's just like $9 for 3 pounds of blueberries. That's a bargain.
Yeah, and you're getting your money's worth for the nutrients as well, because you know just 1 cup gives you about 25% of your vitamin C a day.
Oh, I'm well over that. I'm good for a cup or 2. Like, bring them on all day, every day. Does your family enjoy the blueberry?
Well, my youngest son loves them, and I've got a great blueberry muffin recipe that he loves. My older son, not so much. I have really struggled to get him into blueberries. Sad, isn't it?
It is a shame.
Maybe he'll grow
so
out. Maybe he'll grow into them.
But again, it just boggles my mind whether it's the blueberry or any one of these other small foods that they can make such a big impact in keeping, you know, at least in my case, keeping the weight off. You know, 280 pounds that I've lost, I have no interest in putting them back on. But the funny thing is this little itty bitty blueberry fills me up way more than a big gorge fest at Taco Bell.
Yeah, what's interesting about blueberries is the fact that they've got these nutrients that help the blood flow, which means that you're actually going to get more of those benefits. You're going to get potentially lower cholesterol, lower blood pressure, and you're going to feel better and healthier as a result. So it may be that, again, your appetite for it is just less. We don't want to go to Taco Bell anymore.
You know what else fascinated me about what Dr. Barnard was talking about was that twin study. And that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier in the show as well, is like this is so complicated because here you have 2 essentially identical people, but they're living completely different lives, eating different kinds of foods, and you're seeing a huge difference in their body composition.
Yeah, well, this is what gives me a lot of hope, actually, because what it shows is that we can be genetically identical, and yet our life journeys can have a real impact on how our bodies express those genetics. So with the twin studies, what's great is that you can show changes to how much you move, changes to what you eat can have a really important effect down the line, which is quite empowering if you think about it.
It's so huge. And I wish that I knew and I understood that when I was younger, because then I think I would have made different decisions, you know, and I may not have ever gotten up to 69.9 on the BMI scale, you know?
Yeah.
I always felt like I wasn't in control of anything. And even though I knew I wasn't eating healthfully, I knew that it didn't really matter because I was going to be overweight no matter what.
This is something that's so hard for people because I think you're right. You know, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be a certain way and feel a certain way. And for you, it sounds like you didn't have much hope that you could change.
No. And every once in a while, I would get really ramped up to make some changes. And I would try every diet under the sun. And I remember one particular diet. We've talked a lot about food. I want to talk about water because this reminds me of the time that somebody told me, it was like, well, if you drink 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons of water a day, the weight's just going to melt off naturally. Wow. And so I did. I walked around for months carrying a gallon jug of water, and I was just taking swigs of it left and right and spending virtually the entire day in the bathroom. And so I just never really lost weight, though. So what is the connection between hydration and weight? And was I off kilter here? Because I certainly, qualifier, did not change much of my eating habits beyond just drinking a lot of water.
Well, it definitely helps to drink water and stay hydrated, but interestingly, I think we need to look a bit more about the food, of course, and there's a lot of amazing water-rich foods that are on a healthy, whole food, plant-based diet, and that counts. You know, you're having loads of fruits and vegetables and whole grains, and they'll contain anywhere from between 60 to 100% water content, so it's really helpful to have those foods because they will fill you up properly and they will affect your satiety hormones as well. Whereas if you're just drinking lots and lots of water, that's not going to necessarily have the same impact, and it's going to be really hard on your bladder as well.
So let me ask you, like, would the water in watermelon count toward the amount of water we should be drinking every day? We hear 8-ounce glasses. Would that water from the watermelon count?
Water from watermelon definitely counts, and so does water from cooking. You know, if you're making oatmeal and you're mixing water with the oatmeal, that water all counts towards what you're consuming.
That is amazing.
Yeah, right.
All right, that makes me feel better. So like a lot of times, and I do, man, I use an app on my phone and I log everything that I eat or drink, and it's like, you've not had enough water today. And I'm like, but I ate a lot of pineapple, you know, but I ate an apple. Like, well, why doesn't that count? Thank you. You're making me feel better about life, Dr. Newman.
It's my pleasure.
I appreciate that. Let's get dirty here. I want to talk to you about the F-bomb. And you've actually already dropped it. I'm not talking about that F-bomb. I'm talking about the word fiber, which is so important here for not just losing weight, but keeping it off. Let's talk about fiber.
Fiber is an amazing kind of superfood as well, because we really neglect it in our diet, but it is so crucial for staying full. And I think a lot of the struggles that we have with losing weight and keeping it off are around being able to feel satiated, being able to feel satisfied, being able to feel that we've had enough to eat. And these are biological drives. And this is why weight loss is not about willpower, because you can't sustain a restrictive diet forever. Your body and your biology will fight against it, which is why fiber is amazing, because it helps to fill you up, you feel satisfied, and you're not craving your next meal because your body has got all of the fullness that it needs to sustain you.
And I can tell from experience that the doctor here knows exactly what she is talking about. So now, fiber is great, but where do we get fiber? What are some of the big fiber foods that we should be turning to?
Well, I always say it's important to think about things like whole grains, legumes, and fruits and vegetables. Those 4 food groups are going to have a ton of fiber, and a lot of them are going to have a lot of protein as well. And fiber and protein are really helpful for keeping us full and satisfied. And so I would say think about your rice, your oats, your whole grains. Think about all the variety of fruits and vegetables, the colors of the rainbow, and make sure that you're getting plenty of those, as well as things like your pulses, your chickpeas, your lentils, your beans, and of course, adding in herbs and spices is helpful as well. They're not so full of fiber, but they've got loads of other things to make those things taste great.
Yeah, and just some quick numbers here. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, they have about 2 to 5 grams of fiber per serving. But then you get into the legumes. I mean, you're talking about fiber bombs, 10 to 15 grams. That's a lot of fiber.
Yeah, and you've got a lot of protein there too, which is helpful. So that, again, you're keeping full on both counts.
How much fiber should we be getting in a day? What would you recommend to the average person?
Oh, well, I think hopefully around about 30 grams is ideal, maybe even more on a whole food plant-based diet. But most of us at the moment get much less than that, maybe about 18 grams. So we want to really ramp up the fiber as much as we can.
And a lot of these high fiber foods also contain a lot of water, so you get that double whammy here, right?
Exactly. You're filling up on both counts, but it doesn't feel like a trial. You're actually enjoying what you're eating.
So we've talked about specific foods. What about specific meals? If somebody's like, I want a big, fiber-filled, hydrating breakfast, what would the doctor prescribe?
Oh, I love oatmeal. It's such an easy win. You can put loads of water with that. You can add in your herbs and things like cinnamon. You can add in other spices. You can add in seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds. You can add in nuts if you want to. And of course, your berries. We talked about blueberries. You can add a ton of those on top as well.
Yeah, well, you know, let me talk to you about my lunch and my dinner. I'm a big salad guy. I love salads now. And I do this thing called the kitchen sink salad, where it's just a bed of greens, it's spinach, it's kale, it's whatever I've got. And then a ton of roasted vegetables. Typically a sweet potato is in there, got some kimchi in there, and it's just amazing. I call that the kitchen sink salad because everything that's in the fridge is going in there. Hydrating, lots of fiber. I would imagine that's a prescription you as the doctor would like to fill as well.
Absolutely. I love that. The kitchen sink salad. I think everybody should be doing that.
Put that in your next book, Dr. Newman. Put that in your next book, my friend. And I know in your books you have some recipes as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. My favorite is probably my mac and cheese from the Plant Power Doctor book. It is really fiber rich. You've got the pasta, the whole grain pasta, and of course you're cooking that with water, so that's automatically going to give you a lot of extra water as well as the fiber. And I also love my curry recipe with the cauliflower, really water-rich vegetable, but also you've got loads of nutrients in that as well.
Curry's so good.
Yeah, I love it.
So good. And cauliflower, it's just one of those vegetables that absorbs the flavor of, whatever spice you're using.
Yeah.
But you and I mean, it's kind of amateur hour, not a knock on us. When we go in the kitchen, we can hold our own, we're okay. But you know who's really good in the kitchen?
Who's that?
It's amateur. It's Anne Christine, our culinary whiz.
Oh, of course.
I mean, puts us to shame. She's got some really great power food weight loss superstars, including this recipe for a power brekkie.
You know what they say. Abs are made in the kitchen, which is why some people work out at their kitchen counter. No, it's what we eat. So let's talk breakfast. Hello everyone and welcome back to Veggie Magnifique. Today I'm sharing a power breakfast specifically designed for weight loss, featuring some extraordinary ingredients: berries, citrus, melon, and oats. Of course, whole grains are a fantastic source of fiber, which helps regulate digestion and keeps you feeling full. And they are, in fact, the backbone of our breakfast today, providing sustained energy throughout the morning. So I spoke about citrus a second ago. Today we're going rogue and making a little orange vanilla porridge situation by cooking our oats in some plant milk and then adding in some freshly squeezed OJ and some vanilla at the end. Oranges are of course bursting with vitamin C, and they not only enhance your immune system, but they also provide a little zesty kick to our breakfast. If you're feeling apprehensive about a vanilla orange porridge and you want to stay OG, no worries. You can just slice up some fresh orange, add it on the side, and call it a day. A good day. The next star of the show is berries. Whether you opt for strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, these little powerhouses are rich in antioxidants and fiber. They not only combat oxidative stress, but they also help you to feel satiated longer. And plus, they're pretty. And lastly is melon. Melons are not just refreshing, they're also low in calories and high in water content, which means you can indulge to your heart's content without the added weight. Literally. And there you have it, a vibrant, nutritious breakfast that's not only delicious, but it also supports your weight loss journey. This brekkie is low in calories but high in essential nutrients, making it an excellent choice for anyone who's looking to shed some pounds while actually enjoying their lives.
And that's why she's the pro and we're amateur hour in the kitchen. Amazing recipe. It's on our website if you want to do the power brekkie in your own home. Now, Dr. Newman, we have talked a lot about the good foods for weight loss.
We have.
Let's talk about the bad.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are certain foods that you might think instinctively are not so great for weight loss, but some of them might surprise you.
And we're going to be talking about that in our next episode. So be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. That's how we continue to make this one healthy world. But until next time, I'm the weight loss champion, Chuck Carroll.
And I'm Dr. Gemma Newman, the Plant Power Doctor.
We'll talk to you soon.